Hey guys, how you doing? My clock says it's 8:43 in the morning, but it's actually 7:43. Well, yesterday it would have been 7:43, but today it's 8:43 because we sprang forward. The clock's just changed, so I've had to get up an hour early. Or, I guess yesterday, while I was sleeping, the clocks changed. So technically speaking, yesterday was 23 hours long, and not today will be 24 hours long. Usually our days are 24 hours long, but yesterday was 23 hours long because we sprang forward. So I'm having an extra cup of coffee and I feel like shit and I'm miserable. This is what happens every year. Once a year, you spring forward and then you fall back. But I want you to think about that for a minute. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you feel miserable? Do you feel like shit today? Do you feel tired and annoyed and you got a little bit of a headache and you're pissed off and grumpy? All that because the clock's changed to 1 hour. Basically, all that because yesterday was 23 hours long instead of 24 hours long. Now let me ask you this question, because I know this is a topic nowadays, that the earth is eventually going to become uninhabitable and we're going to have to go colonize somewhere else. And the logical place to go would be Mars. Now, did you know on Mars, the day lasts 23 hours? The days on Mars, miraculously, the days are similar in length to Earth. And that's what these people with aspirations to colonize Mars say. They say, oh, it's so similar to Earth. The days are 23 hours and the Earth days are 24 hours. It's so close. Well, I just had one day that was 23 hours yesterday, and I feel like shit today. Imagine if I had to do that again today. If we had to spring forward again today, so I had to get up an hour earlier tomorrow. And then the next day we had to spring forward again, and I had to get up an hour earlier again. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And we had to do that every freaking day. It would be chaos. It would be a shit show. We can't survive. It's called a circadian rhythm. And every time we spring forward and fall back, or when you fly on a holiday and you cross time zones, you take off from here and you land in London, England, and someone says to you, hey, Klaus, we have nice, sandy, beautiful beaches in England. My reaction after jet lag would be, so who the fuck wants to see them? See, now I've tricked you. I've tricked you to explain circadian rhythm. But actually, the length of day on Mars is 24 hours, 35 minutes, and 39 seconds, something like that. It would be like every day you get an extra half hour of sleep. It would be like falling back. Now come to think of it, when in the fall, when we change the clock and we get to fall back, I get to sleep in and I feel pretty good. Get to sleep in an extra hour. On Mars, you'd get to sleep in an extra half hour every day. You get to sleep in. Imagine if you fell back 35 minutes today, and then you fell back 35 minutes tomorrow, and you fell back 35 minutes the next day, and you fell back 35 minutes every day for the rest of your life. You'd feel good for the first couple of days because you'd be catching up on your sleep. But then after a while, wouldn't you get kind of tired of being in bed all the time? And this is why any deviation from the 24-hour clock for us is it just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Well, it would lead to social chaos. I did the example for you about the 23-hour day, right? To plant that in your mind, so you say, hey, yeah, that would be crazy. But in actuality, on Mars, the days are consider about a half hour longer. So on Mars, after about a year on Mars, you would get a half hour a day extra sleep times 365. What is that, 150 hours? You'd get 150 hours of extra sleep a year. Maybe it would be good for us. Maybe it would actually be good because none of us get enough sleep on Earth. Maybe it's a good idea. There are those who think clearly about this kind of thing that would suggest that we just simply couldn't survive. We would have to survive on a 24-hour clock if we colonized Mars. We would have, and that's what happens to astronauts that have gone to the moon or go to the space station. They keep in contact with Earth, and mission control wakes them up and tells them when it's time to go to bed, because they don't have the natural rhythm there. When they're orbiting the Earth, the sun rises, down, up, down, because they're going around. They go from the dark side to the light side, dark side to the light side, every 90 minutes or so. I believe it's 90 minutes. Why is it 90 minutes? Because that's how fast you have to go. You know why? Do you know why the space station up there orbits the Earth every 90 minutes? Without fail. And if we shoot another space station up there, it'll orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. Do you know why? I'll explain why. Because this is the question. If you're standing on the Earth, on the equator, I weigh 175 pounds, and the Earth starts speeding up, how fast would the Earth have to speed up so that I would weigh 0 pounds? Now, my mass stays the same, but my weight. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Earth is rotating now, revolving, at one revolution every 24 hours. If I stand on the equator, there's a centrifugal force pushing me away, and there's a gravitational force pulling me. Gravitational force caused by the Earth, centrifugal force pushing me away caused by the rotation. My mass on Earth is 175 pounds. My mass on Mars would be less. No, I mean, not my mass. I made a mistake. My weight, see, because, you know why I made a mistake? Because I didn't get enough sleep last night. My weight on Mars would be less, because Mars has less gravity. My weight on the moon is a lot less, because the moon is much less gravity. My mass stays the same. So if I'm standing on the equator of the Earth, and the Earth starts speeding up, it speeds up, my weight would go down for 185 pounds, 175, 160, 130, 80. The Earth starts speeding up faster and faster, so it's more centrifugal force. At what point does the Earth spin fast enough so that my weight is 0, so that I would start floating in the air? Of course, the atmosphere would also leave, but I would start floating in the air so that I would have 0 mass. Effectively, at that point, I'm in orbit. Do you know how fast the Earth has to spin so that that phenomena would happen? It would have to spin 1 day equal to 90 minutes. If the Earth spun that fast, I would have 0 mass on Earth. But I digress. So what I was saying is, if we colonized, say, a place like Mars, there are those that believe we would have to stay on a 24-hour clock, or we would feel miserable every freaking day and to eventually go insane. Imagine if we had to go through this spring forward every day for the rest of your life. You'd go insane. That's what would happen on Mars. So we would have to live on a 24-hour clock. There would have to be someone, mission control, on Earth that would call us and say, it's time to get up. You'd be like, what? It's still dark. Shut up and get up. Or it would be chaos. We'd have to live on a 24-hour clock on Mars, even though the planet revolved once every 23 hours. There would be another circadian rhythm of partially living when it's light out and partially living when it's dark. Our circadian rhythm would have nothing to do with sunrise and sunset on Mars. It would have to do with an arbitrary clock that we would set at 24 hours. Think about that. Of course, it probably wouldn't matter much because you'd never go outside because there's no atmosphere. You'd be stuck in some small cocoon. So it would be miserable. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff all of a sudden. You know why? Because I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy because we have to spring forward. So my question for you is then, I guess, is do you think we should stop this time-changing stuff on Earth? Right? Spring forward, fall back. Shouldn't we just pick one or the other? And I know that there's arguments on both sides. Oh, I love it when the light lasts longer into the evening, so I can sit outside and have my glass of wine in the evening, right? And then there's the other half. Well, I don't want to take my children to school in the dark. It's too dangerous. And we just bicker. Why? So I got an idea. Why don't we just pick, rather than daylight saving or regular time, pick a half an hour in between and just say, boom, that's it. That's the time. And never change it again, right? So the people that want to sit outside on their balcony in the evening and have a glass of wine, it will last half hour less for them. And the people that have to bring their kids to school, the sun will come up half an hour earlier, but might be dark for a little while. But what do you think? That's my recommendation. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Are you grumpy? Are you feeling grumpy and miserable? Do you think we should do away with this time change thing? Or do you already live in a place, there's a lot of places on earth that have already done away with the time change, and you're wondering what I'm talking about. You don't have to go through this feeling miserable twice a year. Let me know what you guys think. And I'm just gonna finish my cup of coffee and probably have another one and be miserable and grumpy for at least 2 or 3 days. That's my plan. I'll catch you guys on the next one.